position with all this. Um, is Yarra the only council with a program like this?
Now, there's quite a few other councils with this type of program. There's the likes of Darebin. There are other councils. The City of Melbourne has kind of a no tolerance approach, but they also seem to support the artists with permits being required and briefs. So it is the way in which it's trending to support artwork, as opposed to taking a no tolerance approach where you'll have no tolerance on your own buildings, but then all of a sudden you'll have, let's say, the metro, or you'll have another authority, or you'll have a private property where they don't have the same approach. So it's very difficult to manage a no tolerance approach when you have other authorities that aren't actually taking that same type of approach. So you'll find that there's graffiti on the train lines, you'll find that there's graffiti on service authorities' infrastructure.
So do the councils talk, and they must talk about it together to sort this out or not?
There's probably something where there's opportunity for improvement, and that's that collaborative approach where councils can work with each other. Now, we've definitely worked through with Juddy Roller to have some similar approaches to Darebin. There's Vic Roads boxes, which councils in Queensland have actually instigated, and we've followed that. That's where we do artwork on particular Vic Roads infrastructure. But there's other places that have festivals where they actually promote street art and have a celebration of it, but not to the degree that it probably should be, considering the amount of money that's being invested into the removal of art, the removal of the graffiti, let's say, the vandalism.
So as a policy then, has this policy of support and approval been much more successful, do you think, in terms of the cost of removal?
It definitely has. Our 2004 policy clearly was back on ownership of the property owners is to do the removal, that we would support the removal. But back then our budget was $50,000. Now it's kind of developed where we're assisting private property, we're promoting artwork and the like, and as a result of that, significantly more costs involved in the management of graffiti.
So that's coming out of the council budget.
It is actually coming out of the council budget, you're right.
And so is that something that you get much feedback from the constituents?
Well, you do get a significant concern around the vandalism. The constituents want to see more enforcement. They see that enforcement needs to be increased. So the no tolerance approach, the enforcement, is what the constituents are looking for. And that's mainly orientated around the tagging though, and the issues we have with tagging. The problem with that is that it's the police that do the enforcement. There is a whole series of other priorities for the police, and graffiti, where they can, they will actually definitely enforce the Graffiti Act or the laws associated with graffiti, but at the same time, to deal with enforcement, let's say in Yarra, it'd probably cost them $1.5 million to do just the enforcement alone if they were to have no tolerance in terms of enforcement. But then there's that argument around the fact that if you don't deal with this type of crime, then there's an ongoing effect that actually leads to other crimes. So it's a catch-22, I suppose.
Right. Okay.
So